Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. I have a few big art projects I want to do in the near future. First, since I love praying to the god of dislikes, I thought I would make an art piece about the god of dislikes. And you guys know I love to make metal castings and put them into a frame. So I already ordered a graphite mold of the It's really a like finger, but I'm going to use it for dislike purposes. And I'm thinking about choosing 10 of the most disliked metals on the periodic table. So by disliked metals, I mean metals that are way too cheap compared to how rare they are, right? There are quite a few metals that behave like that, right? Obviously, bismuth and a few others, right? Indium, lead, or not lead, thallium, mercury amalgams, gallium amalgams, and a few others, right? Even silver, I would argue, is heavily disliked in our society. It really should be about 1/10 of whatever gold is, but right now it's over 1/80th, right? But I would argue part of that is that gold is way too much liked in our society as well, right? A combination of the two, really, right? Oh, okay. The next thing I want to do is I love Mondrian art square patterns like this one. This one is the uh, reciprocal squares, right? A half square plus a third square plus a quarter squared. Now I'm thinking about doing one of these using a metal foil, right? So if I could find 3 or 4 different metals that form foils, right? Uh, you can buy gold foil. It's very thin. It's not too expensive actually because of how thin it is, and I believe it's also possible to do it out of silver as well. And I hope to put together a square just like that. Now I often joke about praying that I often ask you guys to pray that I create the Mona Lisa of the 21st century. But then it dawned on me, what if I could do Mona Lisa out of foil like that, right? So I looked up a pixelated version of the Mona Lisa, and I'll think about doing that out of either foil or some other material just like that. I was in Taiwan about 10 years ago, and I went to visit the Gold Museum, and they have the world's biggest gold bar. That's a little bit out of reach for me at the moment, but I could pour a really big bar out of some other elements that are almost as rare as gold, right? So obviously bismuth, and I'm thinking maybe lead. It won't be really impressive because lots and lots of lead is not that impressive, right? But at least it's a big bar, right? Uh, I'm thinking possibly zinc as well, right? That's pretty inexpensive. You could literally just buy it at the bank, right? I could probably pour. I'm thinking about looking for as big a cast iron uh, uh, bread pan as I could find, right? You can definitely pour bismuth into cast iron. I don't think zinc into cast iron goes very well, though. It tends to get dissolved. So for example, I have this melting pot that's cast iron. Eventually, the zinc eats through it, and then you got to remove the pot and then replace it. So it will probably contaminate the zinc as well. Some other metals I could pour into cast. I think indium pours pretty well into cast iron as well, but again, that's a little bit out of reach in terms of price for me. I guess I could do aluminum. I could definitely afford tons of aluminum. The problem is that aluminum is very lightweight, so a ton of aluminum just takes up a lot of space, right? There's also I guess cadmium would also be affordable. It's a little bit lower melting point than zinc, so a little bit easier to work with, but obviously much more toxic, right? I guess I could do tin as well, but probably bismuth would be the most impressive in terms of rarity and also ease of working. Right, the low melting point, the relative non toxicity. So I'll probably pour a large bar of bismuth and call it the world's largest bismuth bar, right? I need to find out the mold that they use for the 1,000 ounce silver bar, right? That would be the size that I would shoot for, right? Bismuth is a little bit less dense than silver, so it would be probably like 900 ounces when it's all done. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.